Hello everyone, in this video we will implement a very important gesture for mobile games, for directional swipes. If you ever need to extend this to 8 directional swipes, this method will make it easier to update. To save time, I've created a project template that you can use as starting point. You can download the project from the GitHub link, by link in the description or in the pinned comment. After you've downloaded and opened the project, if you are ready, let's start by creating input actions. Open the content folder and create a folder named input. Inside this folder, create an input action and name it IATouch. Open IATouch and change the value type to axis to Z. Next, create input mapping context and name it IMC_main. Open it and add IATouch. Also attach 1 as a binding for the input. Now open BP Player controller. In the begin play event, get enhanced input local player subsystem and call add mapping context. Set IMC_main as input context. Open BP Player spheres and navigate to the event graph. For this tutorial, let's create an additional event graph and name it Touch Gestures. In the new Touch Gestures graph, start implementing IATouch. First we need to store the value at the start of the touch, however saving the value directly from the started pin will result in a zero vector. To handle this, create a boolean variable called isTouchStarted. Place it in a new category named swipes. For this tutorial, every new variable we create will be placed in a swipes category. In the IATouchStarted pin, set isTouchStarted to true. Next, use setTimer by event. Set the timer duration to 0.3. For the event, use createEventNode and create matching event named onTouchTimerFinished. Promote the timer handle to variable and name it TouchTimer. Finally, create two custom events. Swipe with an input action value of vector to D, and tap, which requires no inputs. Next we need to implement the triggered node of IATouch. Start by adding a sequence node. For the first pin of the sequence, check if isTouchStarted is true. If it is, promote the action value to a variable named TouchStartPosition. And then set isTouchStarted to false. From the second pin of the sequence, promote the action value to a variable named TouchLastPosition. Now we need to create a function to use here. Create a new function and name it trySwipe with an output swiped of boolean type. We need to calculate the difference between TouchLastPosition and TouchStartPosition. Promote this difference to a local variable called positionDiff. Next, create a variable named swipeThreshold of type float and set its value to 20. Now check if the length of position div is greater than swipe threshold. And if the touch timer is valid timer handle. If either condition is false, return false. If both conditions are true, we need to calculate the direction vector for the swipe. First find the arctangent 2 in degrees for position div. Connect Y pin to Y and X pin to X. Next, to bind the angle to a specific value, create a variable named swipe angle snapping of float and set it to 90 for 4 directional swipes. If you want 8 directional swipes, you can set it to 45. Divide the end result by swipe angle snapping. Round the result and multiply it by swipe angle snapping. Convert the result of multiplication to an integer. Now create a new 2D vector for the swipe. Set the X to the rounded cosine of the snapped angle. And the Y to the rounded sin of the snapped angle. For 4 directional swipes, rounding the cosine and sin isn't required, but for 8 directional swipes, it's recommended. Call the swipe event with this vector and return true. To make the code more readable, you can collapse the calculation of the swipe vector into a separate function. Name this function getSwipeVector and make it pure. Let's go back to the event graph and continue implementing iAttach triggered. We stopped at setting the attach last position. Next, call the trySwipe function and check if the swipe was successful. If trySwipe returns true, call clear and invalidate timer to reset the touch timer. Now move to the completed node. Here first check if touch timer is valid timer handle. If it's true, call onTouchTimerFinished. Next, let's implement the event starting from onTouchTimerFinished. When the touch is finished, first call clear and invalidate timer to reset the timer. Then call tab. For the swipe event, create a variable called selectedSphere, which will be of type static mesh component. At the start of swipe event, use validated get of selectedSphere. If it's valid, change the material of the selected sphere to the basic shape material. Next, call getSphere by event value using the action value to update the selected sphere. Even if the value wasn't valid before, we will update the sphere and change the material. For the tap event, we will treat it as a swipe event with a 0 vector. Now let's test how it works. First, test it in the editor. And then on the phone. Thank you for your attention and see you soon.